Caroline Dowd-Higgins. Thank you so much for listening to Your Working Life, my podcast series featuring thought leaders in the career and personal growth arena. Now, I know that you spend a significant portion of your life at work, so I'm on a mission to provide you with tools, inspiration, and resources so you can enjoy your career and love your life. And I'm delighted to have my very special guest on the show tonight. Jan Bruce is with me. Jan, welcome.
Well, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
I'm glad you're with me. So, Jan, you are quite extraordinary. You have a proven record in high growth startups and turnarounds, and you've devoted much of the last 20 years to pioneering new brands in health and wellness and consumer lifestyle and holistic medicine. And you're very passionate about building strong business strategies. And I'm particularly interested in your digital coaching system and your book, Mequilibrium, which we're going to talk about tonight, which is a breakthrough personalized stress management solution that helps people cope with today's daily pressures so they can live happier, healthier, and more productive lives. So that's right up the alley of me and all of our listeners. So I thank you for being with me.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
All right, well, let's dive right in, okay? Before we discuss your current venture and what you're up to, let's take a step back, right? How did you get started and become the legendary career lifestyle media person that you are? Give me a little bit of a backstory so the audience knows about you.
Sure. Well, I was trained as an editor and a publisher, and I actually found my passion beyond my training when I started to work in the field of health and wellness, helping people with fitness, with nutrition and diet, with balanced living, with health issues, longevity, sustainability in their lives, and also holistic health and prevention. And all that stuff came together and made me feel like working in the field of media and working on consumer health and wellness was just what made me tick. I think that that first kind of learning for me was when we work in fast-paced industries and we're not that engaged with what we're doing, then it feels stressful. But when you find a subject matter or a piece of it that really speaks to you personally, then it's like flow. It goes from pain to pleasure. So my background was that I kind of, grew up learning, in my career, working in media, in books and magazines and newsletters and digital and broadcast. And then I started to become an entrepreneur. I started to see properties or media, magazines, for example, and said, I think I could make them more successful if I published them this way or that way or change them. That's what I started doing, and I became, I became an entrepreneur in the media world.
So I'd love to know, did you ever struggle with health and wellness, or has that always been top of mind for you? Has that been a focal point?
It's interesting for me, and it actually was the epiphany about this that led me to start my current business, Mequilibrium. I grew to be a subject matter expert in the field of health and wellness. And it's sort of like the, that old expression of the shoemaker's children, have no shoes, another example of it is like physician heal thyself. There I was working in the media industry. I'd sold my last company, a magazine, to Martha Stewart Living Omnimedia, and I was working in the top of the pyramid in the media world, and fabulous, creative, smart, high-powered people all around me, very, very smart and knowing a lot about health and wellness as I do. And it occurred to me, why are people know so much about wellness? Why are they like so unhealthy?
Right.
People, and what I noticed is that people were especially women, these high-powered women that I worked with, and I put myself in the bucket, in that same bucket. We were kind of saying sleepless nights, stiff jaws. We didn't have enough time to work out. We didn't have enough time to have dinner with our kids. We didn't have enough time to eat a hot meal.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the epiphany was just knowing what to do does not make someone healthy. And that
You got to do it. Yeah.
you need to have a lifelong commitment to balancing yourself and your world so that life is good, and life is healthy. So that was kind of how I got there.
Excellent. So help me understand Mequilibrium, right? Because that is the new venture, and it's really a breakthrough. And we've got the book, and we've also got this whole digital coaching system. So tell me more about that.
Sure. So if you just could continue on, this journey about what it takes to be healthy, I spent a lot of time being a seeker, publisher, in looking at what were the ways, what was really going on with people and their wellness, what was keeping them. And I have to say, unconditionally found a few years, 5 years ago, I had this epiphany. I said, stress is the new fat. Stress is, if you look at, there's so much promotion and noise and activity focused on diet and fitness and sleep. But when you look at what's really going on, people are stressed, and the stress keeps them from taking care of themselves. It actually drives them to not take care of themselves. It actually drives them, to not work out, not be healthy, not get enough sleep. And when you start to look at all the literature, you realize that it's really, underpinning so much of the chronic disease, obesity, hypertension, insomnia, infertility, women in our world today, in our country today. So I said, let's fix the stress. And by doing that, we get your head in the game, we get you relaxed and in control so you can tackle anything. And that's how Mequilibrium was born. I looked at everything. I looked at all of the breathing and calming relaxation therapies that were out there, and found that that relaxing doesn't really get it done, or calming, because it doesn't help people get to the root cause of the problem, which is really your thoughts, your thinking styles, the thought cloud bubble that's in your head about how you're interpreting what's going on all around you that exacerbates your stress. So Mequilibrium uses some science-based therapies that help people recalibrate their thinking, change their habitual thinking traps, things like I never succeed, or, they're always out to get me, or, they're never satisfied. Things like that help you change that thing, zap the thoughts that cloud your ability to actually solve the problems. And by doing that, free yourself of all this baggage, this emotional baggage that adds to the stress. And then we get you positive, then we go just not to neutral, but we start working on helping you sort of summon the positive to your life, schedule it in and call it.
Brilliant.
And so, Mequilibrium is actually, you said earlier, it's a digital coaching solution. It is actually, machine coaching, algorithm coaching that we can do for people online, which means that it's really efficient. It's private. You can do this whenever you want. You don't have to add to your stress because you have a 4:00 appointment, because that's the only time the person can talk to you. Who's going to make a 4:00 appointment? In this day and age. So it's very, it's very scalable and easy to use, and it's working great for people.
So that's exciting. And so, Jan, let's get into the head of the audience, right? I know that there are women and some men listening that are saying, okay, well, of course I'm stressed, right? But is there a difference between healthy stress and maybe chronic stress? Because some people love what they're doing. They're just doing so much of it, right? So can you define the difference?
Yes, and I think you bring up a brilliant point, Caroline, which is that stress is not really the enemy. I mean, if
Okay.
you think about it, stress is what helps us get things done. Stress,
Yeah.
the stress response helped us, run from
Fight or flight.
lions,
Exactly. Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
fight or flight. It helps us deliver our babies. It helps us finish our term papers and
Hmm.
graduate. That's not the problem. It helps us when we have a really big speaking engagement or when we have to ask for a raise. Stress is good. What happens is when we get to the point, there are definitely studies that show that chronic stress, which is unrelenting, you start to have diminishing returns on your productivity and your ability to focus. So my favorite analogy is one that our chief medical officer, Dr. Adam Perlman, says. It's like if your car was in a parking lot and it was in neutral and or in park, but it was on, and you
Mm.
kept flooring the gas. Like
Ah.
sooner or later, the engine's going to burn.
Right.
And that's so what I say is yes to stress, no to chronic, which
Mm.
means you have to learn how to shift your head out of it so that it doesn't manage you, but you deploy it when you need your stress. And the second thing is that it's not the enemy is not the stress. The enemy is the thoughts that
Yes.
the
Yes.
habitual thinking about it.
Well, thank you for that because I think it's important too that we befriend our stress, right? And learn how to manage it and control it and use it to our advantage.
Exactly.
So let's talk a little bit about solution providing. And I'd like you to whet our appetite about equilibrium and give us an example, Jan, of just a couple of things that one can do every day to decrease the bad stress, right? And perhaps create better habits so we can be more in control.
So I'll talk about this in two ways. I mean, you probably want to ask me about the book later.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, okay. So, here's a couple here. So here are my favorite activities, I would say, or, you could say it's an activity. You could say it's a practice,
Okay.
because, practice it and it will become your habit and your
Hmm.
guiding habit. So I would say that every morning, observe your thoughts. Like I actually have a little calendar reminder that me equilibrium has helped me set. So I get this little reminder at 7 a.m. that says observe my thoughts. And we spend so much time looking at our calendar, and saying, "Oh, what are all the things I have to do today?"
Mm.
But before I do that, I take a minute and I say, how am I doing? How am I feeling today? Am I feeling pretty good? And the second part of it is that I say, remember three things that I did yesterday that were really successful. Like I
Nice.
try to sort of stoke myself by just saying, okay,
You rocked
I
it. Yeah, well
I
done.
rocked it. Right. I mean, and
Yeah.
it may just be like I made it home on time
Yeah.
and got dinner on the table when I said I would,
Yeah.
right? Or it could be that I got the new account and I got dinner on the table, like whatever it is. Because, for women, we have all these different things going on at
Right.
all time. So I like to observe your thoughts and write down three good things. Think about those three good things. Now, the other thing that I like to do is schedule in some good things that I want to do,
Hmm.
like into my calendar. I talked for a minute about the calendar. I think that we spend a lot of time scheduling in all the things we don't want to do. It's time to do my taxes. I have to
Right.
put that in my calendar. It's time to blah blah, get my car fixed. Well, I need to schedule in to text my girlfriend
Yeah.
and tell her that I miss her or, something like that. So we want to focus on dialing up the positive and the fun.
Love it.
And then, so things like that,
That's great.
those are kind of my little tricks.
Excellent.
Exercise is good, hydration's good too,
Sure,
but
sure.
those things are fairly common.
Yeah, and we hear that a lot. I think
Yes.
well, I'm very impressed that you're saying, look, celebrate yourself. Even the baby step victories, right? The day is long.
Give
Celebrate
yourself
what you
that,
did well.
give yourself that victory lap.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
So let's dive into the book, right? Tell me more about how the book evolved, right? And the companion coaching system, all the great online things,
Sure.
and how do we buy it?
Sure. So, along with my two company founders,
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Adam Perlman, who is a doctor and a specialist in integrative medicine, which is,
Mm-hmm.
kind of combining alternative therapies and holistic health and conventional medicine. So that's Dr. Adam. And then Dr. Andrew Chate, who is a world renowned expert in the field of resilience, and which is kind of coping skills and helping
Oh
people
yeah.
be stronger and more successful. The three of us have spent years designing the Mequilibrium methodology and testing it on people. We work with large companies, big Fortune 500 companies, and we also work with consumers who find us online. But we test this to see that the program is efficient and effective at helping people get in touch with their, the root causes of their stress and their thinking styles, and then actually start to recalibrate your thinking so that you have you can manage your stress and, as we say, be cooler, calmer, and happier, more in control. So the Mequilibrium system, you can buy as you can subscribe to it, and you can have your own personal private online subscription to it. And I like to think it's kind of like a Weight Watchers for stress. Think about
Yeah.
Weight Watchers online,
You've
but
got
for
that. Yeah,
stress.
you've got that support system. Okay.
Exactly. And then the exciting thing is that we've just published a book called Mequilibrium 14 Days to Cooler, Calmer, and Happier. And it's based on the proven science that's in our digital coaching system, and it will fundamentally shift your response to stress and teach you how to learn how to live in a more balanced way. And it's organized in just, I kept saying, no, I don't want anything that's too scientific and too hard to grasp. I want simple 14 days, one a day, one exercise a day that will help you, sort of recalibrate your
Mm-hmm.
thinking, get your head in the game, and take back control of your lives. So we teach you things like identifying which of the thinking traps what the thinking traps are that bring on your stress. Like for me, hint, it's all around time management.
Mm-hmm.
But for you, it might be something else. Then we teach you how to get rid of the thoughts that kind of cloud your ability to think clearly and solve problems. We teach you how to take back your time, maintain your calm under pressure, regain clarity and focus. And then, as I said earlier, dial up the positive elements of your day. And then, there are work-life balance things that we tackle. It's great. It's short, it's fast, it's easy to read, it's easy to sort of deploy. And my only hope is that you start with the book and you get into it, and then you subscribe to the program so that you can have it all the time.
Fantastic. And what I love is that even the title, 14 Days to Cooler, Calmer, Happier, that is that does not give me stress, right?
That's right.
I
It's
can say,
not
okay,
hard.
14 days,
Right.
I can
And
do
you
this,
don't have to, right.
Yeah, wonderful. So tell us how we find you online and how we buy the
Well, you
book.
can, yeah. And it's sort of like, it's not another diet that you're going to forget,
Yeah, right,
right? This is going to be for you.
right.
So you can find us online at mequilibrium.com.
Mm-hmm.
It's equilibrium with an M in front of it, like sort of like me. Put the me put the equilibrium in me.
Love it.
So equilibrium, and you can also find it on Amazon.com and in bookstores.
Fantastic. Jan Bruce, what a delight to have you on the show. I'm so eager to dive into the book. I've been reading little bits and pieces, but I'm eager now that we have spoken to just really enjoy it. And I thank you so much for sharing your expertise, and I wish you great success. And thank you for helping us.
Oh, thank you, Caroline. I have to say, I'm so delighted to be here, and I just love what you're doing. It's just a treat. So thank you.
Well, you're so welcome. And I know that our professional paths will cross again soon. So you have a
Yes.
great night. And
Thanks a lot.
I want to thank the listeners for tuning into Your Working Life, where my goal is to help you design your career destiny so it doesn't happen by default. True career and life satisfaction is possible, and it's time to embrace what you love doing so you can do more of it. I'm Caroline Dowd-Higgins. Take good care.